The council chamber was filled with a palpable sense of urgency. Representatives of the Tarvix, a disciplined and resourceful crystalline species, debated their planet's grim fate. Their world, once stable and prosperous, was now plagued by frequent earthquakes and massive fissures ripping through their cities. Their planet's core, their scientists warned, was becoming unstable. In 3 months, it would expand and explode, rendering their world a memory. Supreme Councilor Garrix, known for his stern leadership, stood at the center of the room, slamming his fist on the crystalline table. "We've sought help from the galaxy's best. The Zilnari couldn't stabilize the core. The Quarix failed to reverse the expansion. What more can we do?" Councilor Rynna, younger and more daring than her peers, hesitated before speaking. "What if we approached the humans?" Gasps filled the chamber. The humans, a species barely out of its infancy in galactic terms. The suggestion was almost insulting. Garrix sneered. "Humans? They are reckless, unrefined. What could they possibly offer that the Zilnari and Quarix could not?" Rynna, undeterred, replied, "They see problems differently. They might surprise us." Garrix turned back to the glowing holographic map of their dying planet. Desperation outweighed his pride. "Send the transmission. If nothing else, we can say we explored every option." On Mars, now humanity's thriving second home, the Terraforming Alliance received the Tarvix transmission. It was forwarded to the desk of Logan Reeve, a seasoned Terraform specialist with a knack for unconventional solutions. Logan sat in the bustling control center, reviewing the details of the Tarvix crisis with a mix of disbelief and intrigue. "They're sitting on a powder keg," Logan muttered, scrolling through geological scans. "And they're too proud to leave." His colleague, Vance, leaned over the console. "Classic. But hey, it sounds like our kind of challenge." Logan smirked. "You're not wrong. Let's gear up." The humans arrived on the crumbling planet within days. Logan and Marcus disembarked from their ship, the harsh environment immediately apparent. Cracks spiderwebbed across the ground, and the air was heavy with ash and heat. The towering crystalline structures of the Tarvix capital city were marred by fractures, their once pristine facades now a haunting reminder of their imminent doom. Councilor Rynna greeted the humans at the landing site. "Welcome to Tarvix," he said, his voice strained with both formality and desperation. "We appreciate your willingness to assist." Logan waved off the formalities. "We're here to help. Let's see what we're dealing with." As the team was briefed on the situation, Marcus shook his head. "This isn't salvageable. The core's too unstable. Staying here is suicide." Garrix bristled at the blunt assessment. "We will not abandon our home. Our people will not survive the journey to another star system." Logan exchanged a glance with Marcus before shrugging. "All right, then let's figure out Plan B." That evening, the Humans and Tarvix Council convened for a brainstorming session. Logan stood at the center of the room, gesturing toward a holographic display of the star system. "We can't save this planet," Logan said bluntly. "But what if we gave you a new one?" Councilor Rynna frowned. "We've already considered relocation. There are no habitable planets in this system." Logan zoomed in on a barren, rocky world, orbiting slightly farther from the twin suns. "What about this one?" Garrix scoffed. "That planet is uninhabitable. We attempted to terraform it decades ago. It was a failure." "Yeah, well, failure's part of the process," Marcus said with a grin. "We've got a little experience in turning barren rocks into livable worlds. Ever heard of Mars?" The room went silent. Logan stepped forward. "Our home planet, Earth, became unlivable after centuries of environmental damage. When that happened, we didn't give up. We terraformed Mars and made it our new home. If we could do it then, we can do it now. Give us a shot." Garrix studied the humans for a long moment, before nodding reluctantly. "You have 3 months." Logan smiled. "That's all we need." Within a week, the human team had established a base on the barren planet, which they nicknamed New Hope. Massive atmospheric processors were deployed, beginning the work of creating a breathable atmosphere. Water extraction units were set up near subterranean ice deposits, and drones spread engineered microbes to start building the foundation for soil. As the machines roared to life, Councilor Rynna observed the activity from a nearby ridge. He turned to Marcus, who was calibrating a drone. "Your confidence in this process is unsettling." Marcus grinned. "We've seen worse. You'd be amazed what a little elbow grease and stubbornness can do." The planet wasn't going to make things easy. Frequent dust storms buried equipment, and the harsh temperatures pushed the human machinery to its limits. When one of the atmospheric processors malfunctioned, causing a small explosion, Garrix confronted Logan. "You assured us this would work," Garrix said, his tone accusatory. "And it will," Logan replied calmly. "But you can't rush progress. Every setback is just another problem to solve." The humans worked tirelessly, repairing damaged equipment and adapting their methods to the planet's unpredictable conditions. The Tarvix, inspired by the humans' determination, began to assist in the efforts. The barren planet, now known as New Hope, was nothing but rock and ice when Logan and Marcus began their work. The humans wasted no time, deploying atmospheric processors to pump oxygen and nitrogen into the thin atmosphere. Drones scurried across the surface, releasing engineered bacteria designed to bind carbon and convert the soil into something usable. Garrix and the other councillors watched from a nearby ridge as the first processors roared to life, spewing misty plumes into the air. The faintest hint of a blue sky began to form above them. "This will take weeks," Garrix asked skeptically. "Less than that for the basics," Logan replied. "The atmosphere is the first step. Once we've got it stable, we move on to water and vegetation." Rynna, standing beside Garrix, studied the humans closely. "You're so direct about it, as if this is just another task." Marcus grinned. "It is. We've done this before, and we've learned a lot from our mistakes. Trust me, this is the easy part." By the end of the first week, the atmospheric processors had increased air pressure enough to condense moisture. The next step was tapping into the ice deposits buried beneath the surface. The humans used thermal drills to extract water, channeling it into artificial reservoirs created by their drones. Marcus stood by one of the reservoirs, watching as the water began to pool. "It's not exactly Niagara Falls," he joked, "but it's a start." Rynna tilted his head. "Niagara Falls?" "Big waterfall back on Earth," Logan explained. "This'll be a lot smaller, but give it time. We'll have rivers flowing before you know it." With water secured, it was time to introduce vegetation. The humans brought containers of fast-growing algae, moss, and genetically engineered plants designed to survive in harsh conditions. Drones spread the seeds across the planet's surface, focusing on areas near the reservoirs. "These plants will stabilize the soil and pump more oxygen into the atmosphere," Logan explained during a briefing with the Tarvix Council. "They're tough, but they'll need a little TLC to get started." Garrix frowned. "TLC?" Marcus chuckled. "Tender loving care. Basically, we have to keep an eye on them until they're established." As the work progressed, so did the challenges. Dust storms swept across the planet, burying equipment and uprooting newly planted vegetation. One of the thermal drills overheated, causing a minor explosion that temporarily halted water extraction. "This place is a real diva," Marcus muttered, as he and Logan worked to repair the damaged drill. "Yeah," Logan agreed, tightening a bolt. "But it's got potential, just needs a little tough love." The Tarvix, initially hesitant to get involved, began assisting the humans. Rynna led a team of Tarvix engineers to help clear the buried drones, their crystalline tools proving invaluable in the harsh environment. "You're catching on," Marcus said, giving Rynna an approving nod. "Teamwork makes the dream work." Rynna didn't entirely understand the phrase but appreciated the sentiment. By the end of the second week, the results were undeniable. The sky above New Hope had turned a pale blue, and the first patches of green algae were visible near the reservoirs. Small streams formed as melted ice trickled into the growing lakes. Garrix stood on a ridge overlooking one of the lakes, his normally stoic expression softening. "This is remarkable." "It's just the beginning," Logan said, stepping up beside him. "Once we've got a stable ecosystem, you'll be able to expand on your own." Rynna approached, visibly impressed. "You make this look easy." Logan laughed. "Trust me, it's not. We've just had a lot of practice." Despite the progress, not everyone was convinced. Some Tarvix councillors continued to question whether the humans' methods were sustainable. One particularly vocal critic confronted Marcus during a council meeting. "What happens if this fails?" the councillor demanded. "What happens if we've wasted our time?" Marcus leaned back in his chair, unfazed. "If it fails, we figure out why and fix it. That's how we operate. You don't quit just because something's hard." Logan nodded. "We don't promise perfection. What we promise is that we won't stop until it works." By the third week, the changes on New Hope were dramatic. The atmosphere was breathable in some areas, and the first grasses had started to sprout around the lakes. Human and Tarvix teams gathered to celebrate the milestone, sharing stories and meals in the temporary base. Rynna raised a glass during the celebration. "I'll admit, I was skeptical, but seeing what you've accomplished in such a short time, it's humbling." "Thank you." Marcus grinned. "Don't thank us yet. We've still got a lot of work to do." By the fourth week, New Hope was no longer a barren wasteland. The once thin atmosphere had thickened, taking on a bright blue hue. The reservoirs had expanded into rivers and lakes, creating a network of fresh water across the planet's surface. Mosses and grasses grew in patches, with shrubs and engineered trees beginning to take root. Logan and Marcus stood on a ridge overlooking one of the largest lakes, the water shimmering under the twin suns. "Not bad for a couple of scrappy humans, huh?" Marcus said, shading his eyes with one hand. Logan smirked. "Give it a few more weeks, and it'll look like a vacation spot." Rynna, who had joined them on the ridge, stared at the transformation in awe. "This is beyond what we imagined. It's almost beautiful." "Almost," Marcus teased. "Come on, give us some credit. It's a masterpiece in progress." The next phase of the terraforming process was the introduction of small animal species. The humans had brought engineered insects and pollinators, essential for supporting the vegetation and helping the ecosystem thrive. Marcus released a batch of tiny winged pollinators near a cluster of flowering shrubs. The insects buzzed to life, flitting from plant to plant, their work already visible as the flowers began to bloom. Rynna watched curiously. "And these creatures, they won't disrupt the balance?" "Nope," Marcus said. "They're designed to work in harmony with the plants. Think of them as nature's little helpers." The Tarvix councillors observed the process with a mix of fascination and skepticism. Garrix, who had remained critical despite the progress, finally spoke up. "I'll admit," he said, "this is impressive, but can it last?" Logan turned to him, his expression calm but firm. "It's not just about making it last, it's about making it better. This isn't a quick fix. It's the start of something sustainable." Not everything went smoothly. A particularly violent dust storm swept across the planet, burying equipment and uprooting some of the newly planted vegetation. The humans worked around the clock to repair the damage, often improvising with whatever tools and materials they had on hand. One evening, as Logan and Marcus dug out a buried atmospheric processor, Rynna joined them. "You're relentless," Rynna said, watching as Marcus repaired the damaged machine with practiced efficiency. Logan chuckled, brushing dust off his hands. "We don't have much of a choice. You can't just give up every time something goes wrong." Rynna nodded slowly. "Your determination, it's admirable." Marcus grinned. "Admirable? Nah, it's just stubbornness." Inspired by the humans' dedication, the Tarvix began contributing more actively to the terraforming effort. Their advanced knowledge of crystalline structures proved invaluable in stabilizing the planet's geology, while their engineers worked alongside the humans to refine the atmospheric shield. Garrix himself joined one of the repair teams, surprising many of his colleagues. While working with Logan to reinforce a thermal generator, the once proud councillor admitted, "I underestimated you. Your methods may lack elegance, but they are undeniably effective." Logan shrugged. Elegance doesn't save planets. Results do. By the end of the 5th week, the progress was undeniable. The atmosphere was stable, the water systems were thriving, and the vegetation had expanded enough to support larger ecosystems. For the first time, the Tarvix could breathe freely on the planet's surface without any assistance. The humans and Tarvix gathered to celebrate this milestone. Marcus stood with a glass of alien wine, addressing the group. "Here's to new hope," he said, raising his glass, "and to proving that even the impossible is worth trying." The crowd erupted into cheers, their voices a mix of human laughter and the crystalline chimes of the Tarvix. With the basic ecosystem established, the final phase of the project was preparing the planet for habitation. Human engineers worked with Tarvix architects to design modular settlements that could adapt to the planet's evolving environment. The Tarvix, known for their artistic ingenuity, incorporated their crystalline aesthetics into the designs, creating settlements that were both functional and visually stunning. Logan walked through one of the first completed structures with Rynna, admiring the blend of human and Tarvix influences. "This is more than just a place to live," Logan said. "It's a fresh start." Rynna nodded, his voice filled with gratitude. "You've given us hope, not just for survival, but for a future." As the first Tarvix settlers moved into their new homes, the humans began packing up their equipment. Logan and Marcus stood on a hill overlooking one of the settlements, watching as families explored their new world. "You think they'll name a city after us?" Marcus joked. Logan smirked. "Doubt it. But that's not why we did this." Marcus nodded. "Yeah. Still, it's nice to leave a mark." By the 7th week, New Hope had transformed from a barren wasteland into a planet bursting with life and potential. The atmosphere was rich with oxygen, the rivers and lakes shimmered under the twin suns, and vegetation had spread across vast areas of the surface. The Tarvix settlers, once resigned to extinction, now roamed their new home with cautious optimism. Children ran along the banks of newly formed lakes, their crystalline laughter echoing through the air. The modular settlements, blending human practicality with Tarvix artistry, stood as symbols of resilience and collaboration. Logan and Marcus observed from a hill overlooking one of the largest settlements. "You know," Marcus said, leaning on a railing, "this might be one of our best projects yet." Logan nodded. "Definitely up there. But it's not just ours. The Tarvix made it happen too." As the humans prepared to leave New Hope, the Tarvix held a farewell ceremony in the planet's central settlement. The settlers and councillors gathered around a crystalline monument erected in the humans' honor. Garrix, now humbled and deeply respectful of the humans, addressed the crowd. "We stand here today because of the efforts of those we once underestimated. These humans, with their unorthodox methods and unrelenting determination, have given us not just a new home, but a second chance." He turned to Logan and Marcus, who stood side by side in the crowd. "You have our eternal gratitude. What you've accomplished here will be remembered for generations." Marcus grinned. "Just doing what we do best, fixing broken things." Logan stepped forward, his tone more reflective. "New Hope is yours now. Take care of it. Make it better than we ever could." News of New Hope's transformation spread quickly across the galaxy, shocking and inspiring other civilizations. The Zilnari, who had initially failed to stabilize the Tarvix's original planet, reached out to the Terraforming Alliance with a mix of curiosity and disbelief. "You mean to tell us you terraformed an entire planet in under 2 months?" a Zilnari representative asked during a galactic summit. Marcus, attending the summit with Logan, shrugged. "Yep, it wasn't easy, but we got it done." The Zilnari were not alone in their amazement. Species that had long dismissed humans as reckless or insignificant began to reconsider their assumptions. Galactic media hailed humans as the miracle workers of the stars, and requests for their expertise poured in from all corners of the Confederation. The Tarvix erected a permanent monument in New Hope's capital city, a towering crystalline structure that shimmered with a soft, rainbow-like glow under the twin suns. At the base of the monument, an inscription read, "To the humans who looked at a barren world and said, Let's make it home. Logan and Marcus, though flattered, downplayed their role whenever asked about the monument. It wasn't just us, Logan would say. The Tarvix made this happen too. We just gave them the tools and a little nudge. When Logan and Marcus returned to Mars, they were greeted with applause from their colleagues at the Terraforming Alliance. The mission was considered a monumental success, solidifying the Alliance's reputation as the galaxy's go-to problem solvers. So, Marcus said during the debriefing, leaning back in his chair, what's next? Fixing a dying sun, building cities on comets. Logan smirked. Let's hope it's something simpler, but knowing the galaxy, I doubt it. Years later, New Hope had become a thriving hub of Tarvix civilization. Its ecosystems flourished, its cities expanded, and its people prospered. The collaboration between humans and Tarvix became a symbol of what could be achieved when species worked together. The Tarvix often shared their story with other struggling civilizations, encouraging them to reach out to the humans for help. They see solutions where others see only problems, Rynna would explain during interstellar conferences, and they never give up, no matter how daunting the challenge. One day, as Marcus and Logan worked on a new terraforming project back on Mars, a transmission arrived from a distant star system. We've heard of your work on New Hope, the message read. Our people are facing an impossible situation. We need your help. Marcus leaned back, grinning. Well, looks like the universe isn't done with us yet. Logan stood, stretching. Let's get to work.